All right, Joe here. Welcome back to We Need to Talk. This is, of course, the show that looks at football on the internet over the past 7 days. 7 days that's seen Jamie Carragher analysing one of the biggest moments of the season so far.
Now, I become too emotional and worrying about knocking Gary Neville into the stand as I did before. I'm too high. I haven't gone low enough, which hence why I end up on my backside. I mean, I think it was the extra weight Gary Neville's actually carrying, probably won in the day in the end.
Pep Guardiola absolutely buzzing to meet Michael Oliver. And Justin Bieber even more buzzing to be interviewed by me.
I'm here with music superstar Justin Bieber. Justin, we know you're a big...
Anyway, this week we need to talk about Napoli. It's been one hell of a week in Naples because behind the scenes, things are quite literally falling apart at the San Paolo Stadium. If you don't know about this story, where the hell have you been? Secondly, listen up, because it's mad. Let's rewind the clock back to a couple of weeks ago when Napoli lost against Roma, where all of this madness really started. And then 3 days later, drew, a pretty credible draw actually, against RB Salzburg, mainly thanks though to some Alex Mere heroics. But it was the loss to Roma that really made the blood boil of the Napoli board and in particular, club owner De Laurentiis. In fact, he was so raging at the loss and the draw that he organised a team bonding session, a team retreat, or a retirito. Retiro? How do you pronounce it? Retiro? God knows, it's basically Italian for a retreat. A team retreat in Italy basically means a week where the players are forced to stay at the training camp, aren't allowed to leave, they sleep there, they eat there, and they train there 7 days a week, and it was real commonplace back in the 70s and the 80s. But it was mainly commonplace when the team were in total chaos and crisis, which is not something I would describe of Napoli, who are currently 7th in Serie A, almost guaranteed to go through to the Champions League knockout rounds, and haven't been playing that badly. Anyway, this punishment retreat was due to be held after the Salzburg game, and De Laurentiis had informed all of the players and the manager it would be taking place. But after the 1-1 draw against Salzburg, the Napoli players basically went, that we're not going, we're going home, got in their cars and refused to go to the retreat. The only person that went was Carlo Ancelotti. Poor old Carlo. How lonely must that have been? Apparently he slept there overnight by himself. Just, what was the point? You may as well have gone home as well, Carlo. Obviously, the club retreat, which was organised by the club's owner, went down like a total sandwich. So much so that Napoli actually put out a statement after the players refused to go, saying they'd be taking legal action against their own team after the refusal to show. And the statement read, the club announces that with reference to the behaviour of the players, it will proceed to protect its rights on an economic, capital, image and disciplinary level. It also makes clear that the responsibility with deciding the orders for a retreat lies with coach Carlo Ancelotti. A press silence has been ordered from now and until an undecided date. So clearly, De Laurentiis is absolutely raging with his players, and the players are now raging with De Laurentiis. And from that moment on, the club has been in total meltdown because Carlo Ancelotti, who, as I said earlier, actually went to the training ground and slept there, actually ended up siding with the players, so he's fallen out with De Laurentiis. His future is already up in the air. There are rumours linking him with AC Milan. There are also rumours linking him with Boca Juniors. What does seem clear is that Ancelotti wants out. As for the players, there is a full mutiny going on, so much so that Calcio Mercato are reporting that at least 5 star players will be sold in January or the summer, including the likes of Dries Mertens, who's just a few goals away from becoming the club's record ever goal scorer, including the likes of Kalidou Koulibaly, who they rejected €100 million offer for in the summer, Insigne, Alan's in there, Goulam's in there. The list is pretty much never ending. Not only is he threatening to sell all of the club's superstars and sack Carlo Ancelotti, but he's also reportedly going to deduct 25% of every player's salary until the situation is resolved. More worryingly than that though, the fans have now got involved, which is where this takes a slightly sinister turn, because at an open training session during the week, the fans turned up, they booed all the players, they booed Ancelotti, and they sided with De Laurentiis, rather surprisingly. And to make matters worse, they then went to some of the players' houses and started causing total havoc. The reports are they broke into Alan's house. His wife was saying that there were people running around causing mayhem with the children. They've been abusing Zielinski and vandalising his car. And the players have actually had to hire bodyguards in order to stop violence happening, which is just totally unacceptable. Now, where everybody goes from here, I'm not too sure. You've got the players up in arms, you've got the owner up in arms, you've got the manager wanting out, and you've got the fans in protest. The latest reports are that De Laurentiis wants to sell the club and that he has no interest in it anymore. There are reports that he's rejected a €560 million bid and wants in the region of 900 million to get a deal done. Either way, Napoli are in total chaos, and it's all come because De Laurentiis wanted to send the players on 1970s-style retreat. Madness. Moving on to the good, the bad and the ugly. The good actually comes out of Manchester United this week. It involves Marcus Rashford, who invited 33-year-old cancer survivor John Burke over from the US of A to Old Trafford to watch a game. Gary Neville put him up in hotel football. Rio Ferdinand was involved as well in his journey. Brilliant to see the power of social media as those two connected online. This is just an all-round good story involving a young English player. Well done to Marcus Rashford. The bad this week is all about Raheem Sterling versus Joe Gomez. Probably the biggest mountain out of a molehill I've ever seen. Nevertheless, we want to talk about it just for a little bit because, as you've probably read, Raheem Sterling attempted to grab Joe Gomez by the throat, left him with that little scratch on his eye in the England camp after saying, "You think you're the big man now?" Brilliant quote, by the way. But obviously, Raheem Sterling has now been dropped for the game against Montenegro by Gareth Southgate. Joe Gomez was trying to plead his case. It all got a little bit nasty behind the scenes. Either way, Raheem Sterling out in the cold with England, thanks to Gareth Southgate. Might be a little bit harsh, in my opinion. But what do you think? Vote in the poll as to whether you think Raheem Sterling should have been dropped from the Montenegro game by Gareth Southgate after this Joe Gomez incident. Click the I button and cast it now. The ugly this week is about Glenn Tamplin. You'll probably remember him from the Billericay Town days when, of course, he installed himself as owner and as manager, painted a load of ridiculous motifs on the wall.
And that's their pry at the door. That's our opposition. So as we get ready and we're getting out to go out, we're getting ready for our opposition. We're getting ready to go and hunt our prey.
Before eventually resigning. Well, he's taken over a new club. This time it's Romford. And he's done the same thing. He signed 15 players, injected £3 million in, sacked the manager, appointed himself as boss. What is going on with Glenn Tamplin? For goodness sake, man, stop appointing yourself as manager. If you want to take over a club and invest some money, fair enough. But this is a dictatorship. So that's it for this week's episode of We Need to Talk. If you enjoyed it, make sure you hit the like button and leave a comment about stories you want me to talk about next week. If you want more serious football chat, head over to Continental Club on EFD, where it's Doogie, Hamill, and somebody else, I'm not too sure who it'll be yet, talking about more serious European matters. Thanks very much for watching. Auf Wiedersehen.